Hello everyone and welcome back to DBX Labs. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of hive inspection. I know it's been a couple weeks since I last did a video on this hive, but hopefully we should see some changes. The queen's had some time to escape her little cage and settle into the hive. Hopefully we'll see some eggs and new comb. In this area there's some dandelions sprouting up, and that's the real nectar season for these bees, so hopefully that's what we're going to be seeing, a lot of nectar and hopefully some brood. Now first off, this was almost completely full last time I checked, and now it's completely empty, so we'll have to find something to do with this can. So in this super, there was a good amount of honey, at least a couple weeks ago, that the old colony had left behind. And it looks like these bees are getting into that honey, making good use out of it. And up here we're just looking for honey. The queen shouldn't be able to migrate her way up there due to the queen excluder. Okay, so I've lifted off the super box, and it is clear that there are a lot of bees in here. And that looks like some new comb right there. And that it is. So, yeah, looks like they have a lot of wax to build with, and they're just building everywhere they can. The queen is out of her confinement, so hopefully we'll find her somewhere in the hive right now. And there's certainly a lot of bees in the hive. So right here I have a frame that the bees were building on last year, and they didn't really stick to the framework that the frame originally had. That's not much of a problem, but it certainly is a pain. Now I haven't found the queen yet, and I'm not sure if this is easy for you guys to see, but on that frame there are a lot of eggs, and I don't see any larvae just yet, but there are certainly a lot of eggs. And the good thing is all the eggs are just one to a cell. If there were more than one to each cell, that'd be bad. That would mean the queen isn't very good of a queen, and we might run into some problems if that ever comes to be. Still looking for the queen. Oh, look at that. So there is a lot of larvae right there. Maybe we can do some chemistry with this little bit of comb right here. Maybe I can nitrate it, or see how it burns with nitric acid. Looks like the bees are bringing in a lot of nectar, and they'll be turning that into honey. But all that shininess in that comb right there is nectar they're putting in. The good thing is it's not dripping out, which means they're in the process of converting that into honey. The way they convert nectar into honey is kind of a tedious process for them. They bring the nectar into their honey stomach, which is a separate stomach from their digesting stomach, and it kind of reacts with, enzymes react with that nectar, and they spit it back into the cell and then start fanning it off with their wings, and eventually it loses enough water content to become honey. At that point they cap the cell and it won't ferment once it's capped, so it just sits that way. That's why I have some honey from like last year, which I can break open, and that's perfectly safe to eat. Same for the bees. Not that they're perfectly safe to eat, but the honey is good for them. Certainly are a lot of bees since last time, so maybe that could be some bees have hatched from brood. I don't know about that. That might be a little bit too high hopes for now. And all of that looks to be newly capped honey. So they've been working on that. And right below that is pollen. All that orangey stuff that's not capped. The pollen is great for the bees to produce more brood. So that's what you'd kind of expect of them right now. Now, although I couldn't find the queen on this quick search of the hive, I do know that she's in there and alive and well, because I do see a lot of eggs, larvae, and a little bit capped brood, which means she is laying eggs. This was already a mated queen, so she didn't have to do a mating flight, but she's definitely adding to the brood. Here's some of the comb that I had to take out in the maintenance of cleaning up the hive. And I'm glad there weren't any eggs on here, because I'd hate to prevent some of those from developing. But mostly it was just wax that they had to put somewhere, so they start building excess comb where I had to fit the queen box so she would slowly be freed into the hive. And right here, hopefully it should be easier to see the process of how honey is formed. This is all nectar right here. It's not capped, so it's not honey. And you can see the newly white comb. That's what comb looks like before the bees start trampling over it for a long time. And they're only partially full, but it was in the process of drying. And this nectar should be safe to eat, although it shouldn't have the consistency of honey. It shouldn't be as thick. And that's just because it doesn't have the low water content that honey has. But it's certainly like honey in the stickiness aspect. So I'll probably just put this in front of the hive and the bees can dig into it, take all they can out.